Hi there! Today we're going to a few things that make your home look cheap and not well designed overall. And I'm showing you how to fix them and make your space look more aesthetically pleasing. I'm Mon, this is Mars. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you're new here, please consider subscribing and hitting that like button. It really helps our channel so much and it helps you to never miss another video again. Now let's go! The very first thing that will make your home look not good are accent walls. And I know people are going to be mad about this one, but the reality is that most accent walls don't look good and do not improve the space. Quite the contrary, actually. They make the space feel unfinished, DIY'd, and cheap. And the truth is, accent walls became so popular during the pandemic. I feel like everyone was painting a wall back then, and I know most people do it to make their space look better. However, most of the time, accent walls will just disrupt the visual flow and the coherence of the room. Instead of enhancing the space, in most cases, the accent wall will create a disjointed and jarring effect, cutting the room in such an unnatural way. And I know that most people will argue that painting a boring wall will just add interest and a color to a space. However, in my opinion and my personal experience, there are plenty of other and better ways to incorporate color and interest to your space that will look so much better. For example, instead of painting just one wall a random color, add a big art piece or even a tapestry you really like. Or maybe instead of adding wood slats to your wall just because they are trendy and everyone has them, add bookshelves instead. They are a more timeless option. They will still fill in your empty wall, but will also look so much better and will add so much interest and uniqueness to your space. So I guess my advice is be intentional when you're decorating your space. If you're painting a wall just to add color to your space, there are so many better ways you can do that. By adding decor, by adding wall art, even painting your furniture or shelves another color. And if you're absolutely determined that you want to paint your walls, go with painting all of them, not just one. Painting just one wall in your room and making an accent out of your walls will just throw off your room and detract from the room's overall aesthetic and coherence. The most common thing I see that makes a space feel not well designed are small rugs. But I've learned that's mainly because people don't even know the general guidelines when it comes to choosing a rug. Plus, let's be honest, the smaller the rug, the cheaper it is. However, good design comes at a certain cost, and bigger rugs are the way to go for sure. If the rug is too small for your space, it will not look good and will throw off your room by disrupting the visual harmony of the room, undermining its overall design. The rug should tie in with all of the furniture instead of just feeling like it's floating in the room. A rule of thumb is that your rug should fit under your key furniture pieces or at least under the front legs of your key furniture pieces, meaning the front legs of your sofa and all of the armchairs. Or if we are talking about a dining room, the rug should fit all of the legs of both the table and the dining chairs. Placing a small rug in a room with larger furniture can make the rug feel disproportionately small and just visually awkward. A large rug, on the other hand, ensures better balance and proportions by defining the space and tying everything together. Sometimes when we design a space, we tend to go the budget route on things with a sort of a fake it till you make it attitude. I'll give you an example. I don't have a budget for a vintage rug, so I will get a faux vintage rug. Or I don't have the budget for a marble kitchen top, I will add a contact paper to my existing kitchen top. Or I can't keep a plant alive, so I will get a plastic one instead. Easy peasy, right? Wrong. Now, first of all, let me say that if you're doing this, I totally get it. Trust me, I'm guilty of this one too. I mean, I have vinyl floors because I didn't have the budget at the time for wood floors. So, however, in most recent years, I'm really trying to keep it more honest when it comes to the materials I'm choosing for my home. And it has made my space feel so much better. Even if the faux vintage rug looks good, I would rather get a cheap jute rug from IKEA that's real jute because it's honest. What you see is what you get. I'm not trying to trick the eye that it's something else, and when you step on it, it's obviously another thing. And don't get me started on contact paper marble kitchen countertops. They just don't look good and are not practical at all. It's one thing to add contact paper, let's say, to your wardrobe doors to change the color, and it's another thing to add it on a kitchen countertop where there is contact with food and water. Some things are just not made to be DIY'd, and they cannot improve the space no matter how hard you try. And don't get me wrong, that's not about the what will other people say if they notice it. It's honestly about me and the fact that I will know it's fake. So try to keep it honest as much as you can and know that it's absolutely okay to decorate with materials that are in your budget. I've said it so many times, there is nothing that throws off a space as much as an overhead light does. You see, overhead lights often cast harsh and unflattering light that can create stark shadows and glare. This type of lighting can be so uncomfortable and unpleasant to the eyes, especially in places where people gather for relaxation and socialization. And it's true, the big lights just fail to create a cozy, inviting ambiance and just detract from the aesthetic appeal of the room. So instead of having one big and direct overhead light, always opt for a few lower sources of light. Adding table lamps, floor lamps, desk lamps, and even wall lamps will make your space feel that much more cozy and aesthetically pleasing. So try incorporating a variety of lighting sources and utilizing techniques that will make the space feel more cozy, such as dimming and layering light, and you will create a more visually pleasing and well-designed environment. Open storage is a concept that sounds amazing on paper, but when it's incorporated in real life, it just doesn't work. Just imagine having open storage in your kitchen and all of those things you use on a daily basis just laying out in the open, collecting dust, and just screaming visual clutter. Or let's say having open storage TV console and having all of those cables and TV boxes just out in the open. Not only they will not look good no matter how you arrange them, but they will also contribute to visual clutter and detract from the overall aesthetic and functionality to the home. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible to make open storage work. It absolutely is, and there are a few examples of how you can make it look good. For instance, if you have a lot of books, I would honestly encourage you to add them on open shelves. They will look so good. Or if you have a lot of cool mugs or plates you just want to showcase, just go for one open shelf in your kitchen. However, just know that you will have to keep them organized neatly to maintain a tidy appearance. Without careful curation, the visual clutter of miscellaneous items can just accumulate and make the space feel chaotic, which will end up making the space feel cluttered and just feel not well designed. And again, before saying a word about this one, I would like to say that I'm guilty of this one too. Getting art prints that are so popular and that are literally everywhere across Pinterest. And these prints and arts may look good at first, but they just do not make the space feel unique and special because they are everywhere. You see, mainstream art prints and art pieces are often designed to appeal to a broad audience, which can result in artwork that lacks depth, emotion, or personal significance. These art prints are often mass-produced, resulting in a lack of uniqueness and originality. And the truth is, art is so personal, and in order for an art piece to look good and feel right for your space, it has to mean something to you. Maybe it's a postcard you got from a recent trip, or a piece of art from your favorite artist. Even an art print you got on Etsy just because you liked it and it speaks to you. It doesn't have to be expensive, it just has to speak to you and spark a certain emotion in you when you see it. I would rather you leave your wall empty than buy art just because it's trendy and it's everywhere on Pinterest. And trust me, art does not have to be expensive. You can thrift it, you can find cool art piece just if you dig a little deeper on Etsy. Plus, there are plenty of ways to DIY your own art. And I will make sure to leave a link to some of my videos of how I did that into a description box. I'm just sharing my own personal opinion and the things that have worked for me in my home. Of course, there are exceptions and things that work in one space and don't work in another. So always go with your gut. If it feels right, just do it. At the end of the day, you should be happy in your space and you should do it for you, not for anybody else. Thank you guys so much for watching and for sticking with us to the very end. We really appreciate it. Right, Mars? I've asked you if you want to see more of Mars in my future videos, and you all were so kind and said yes. So I'm thinking of making a vlog with Mars, and if you're interested, just hit me up in the comment section below. And of course, subscribe to the channel to not miss that video. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you designers next week. Bye! Mars, was it hard to film the video? Are we making a vlog, buddy? We sure will. Bye, guys.